So y'all, this is the second time a House of the Dragon showrunner has been confused as to why we like Damon. So let's talk about it. I'm gonna read you a little tiny paragraph just coming from this Ryan Condal interview with the New York Times. So one question that he was asked goes like this. So they say, much of the fandom wants to see Damon, as you put it, wearing a white hat or a black hat, to the point that many of them criticized Sarah Hess, a writer and executive producer on the show, for her less than glowing assessment of Damon. And I guess I'll talk about that a little bit later. Did you see this coming? I don't like this question because it really makes it seem like the fans expect for, especially fans who've been watching, not even just the book fans, to be honest, like the show fans. If you've been watching Game of Thrones and you have like half a fucking brain cell, you will know that these characters do good and bad things. All of them. A lot of them. Some of them just do really evil shit all the time. but some of them do good and bad things. And I don't like this question because it makes it seem like the fans expect. I don't think the fans expect Damon to be one or the other. We know that but to imply, Sarah Hess was implying that Damon don't love nobody, or in my opinion, that's how it felt. I guess I'll read it a little bit later what she said, but I just don't think that's a fair question. Either way, they asked him, did you see this coming? And Ryan Condal says this: I'm having trouble understanding it. We established right out the gate in the pilot that Damon is a fascinating guy, but he's not Ned Stark, so I didn't see it coming. To me, Damon is the anti-hero of this story. He's a character with a real darkness to him, who's dangerous and charming in equal parts. I knew people would be fascinated by him and latch onto him, but I figured they'd do it in the way that they did with Jaime Lannister or Bronn or the Red Viper. I did not think they would oddly apply this sort of super fandom to him and try to justify every single thing he's done as being intrinsically heroic. It simply isn't. It's not the case, nor will it ever be in the future. Nobody in the show writes in a vacuum. I'm the lead writer. I oversee everything that happens on the show. Every choice comes through me. If it's on screen, it's because I either wrote it or approved it being written. Sarah Hess and I wrote 85% of season 1 together. We did not set out to write villains and heroes in this. We set out to write interesting humans and complex characters who are hopefully compelling, but compelling doesn't always mean heroic or unimpeachable. I see Damon as having heroic aspects to him, and I understand why people would. I mean, he's incredibly charismatic. He's handsome. He looks great in that wig. Come on, wig. He rides a dragon. He has a cool sword. I totally get it. But if you're looking for Han Solo, who's always going to do the right thing in the end, you're in the wrong franchise, folks. So I don't get why it's so confusing to people, why people like people or characters who can be villainous. Like, child, I would get on here and literally worship Magneto, and Magneto does some fucked up shit, but it's just like, we like these characters because they're compelling. Like you say, you literally described it, that you write interesting humans and complex characters who are hopefully compelling. So I don't know why people would be confused or shocked as to Damon's as having a whole entire fan base. Do you see the amount of actual real life serial killers that people worship in real life? You know what I mean? Of course, especially in America, of course you're gonna have people worshiping Damon. And I find what he says about Jaime Lannister and Bronn really interesting, because he says, I figured they'd do it, or like basically worship Damon in the way that they did with Jaime Lannister or Bronn, etc., etc. And my thing is like, child, maybe you weren't paying attention to these to these what you call it, these fan fictions and stuff. Maybe you weren't really online like that. But girl, and of course it may not be to the same intensity, but there were people who were definitely loving the shit out of Jaime Lannister, no matter the crazy shit that he did, and Bronn as well. People love Bronn. Jaime and Bronn, that like fan favorites, 100%. So for me, I don't understand why it's so confusing. And I really hope that y'all get to understanding why people like these characters so much. I really hope that y'all understand that. because I think it would really complement your writing, your storytelling, when you're able to see what exactly it is that is so compelling to your audience about these characters. I'm gonna read you what Sarah Hess said. I think I had already read it in a different video, but I want to read it to y'all now because Sarah Hess did this interview for The Hollywood Reporter, and she was asked this question. Some viewers have really fallen for Daemon after the last episode when he helped his brother as he stumbled on the way to the throne to decide the heir of Driftmark. But wasn't that Daemon helping the king do what he wanted him to do anyway, to make a ruling in his daughter's favor? If Viserys was about to rule against Rhaenyra, Daemon would have let his brother fall flat on his face. Yeah, I definitely read this before. In other words, aren't all of Daemon's moments, even the seemingly benevolent ones, ultimately self-serving? Hess replied, I agree with you. Yes. I did read this. I agree with you. He's become internet boyfriend in a way that baffles me. Not that Matt isn't incredibly charismatic and wonderful. He's incredible in the role, but Damon himself, I don't want him to be my boyfriend. I'm a little baffled how they're all, oh daddy, and I'm just like, really? How, in what way was he a good partner, father, or brother to anybody? You got me. He ain't Paul, whatever. So that's what she said. And honestly, yeah, I wouldn't want Damon to be my fucking boyfriend either, because I mean, no shade, I'm not trying to get choked out randomly when you get mad. Like, Damon is a firecracker waiting to go off, and you don't know what will set his ass off. So yeah, I mean, I agree with her in that aspect, but to say that he wasn't a good brother, I'm not really buying that. You see what I'm saying? So it's just, yeah, like we as an audience, as a consumer of something that is make-believe, we can see that if this person existed in real life, bitch, I'm not going to go near that motherfucker. He was chopping off people's arms and dicks and shit on the first episode. Like, I'm not going near Damon if he existed in real life. It's just not happening, right? But I am able, as a person with a working brain, to separate that from, fangirling. I will fangirl it. If I want to fangirl, I'm gonna fangirl. Let's get one thing clear. Okay, let's get one thing straight. If I'm gonna fangirl over a character, I'm gonna fangirl no matter what they do. No matter what they do. That's why I'm over here defending Daenerys even after all this shit. Am I going to defend mass murder in real life? Like, come on now. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm also not going to act like Dan and Dave were thinking using a human brain. Maybe they were using an ant brain or something. Maybe when they came up with that shit, right? I don't know if they had a brain transplant or something, and they're just like, bitch, I want to switch brains with an ant and write this fucking story right now. So I'm not gonna act like that shit made any sense, and I'm also not gonna give up on Daenerys fucking Targaryen to break her motherfucking chains, to fucking mother of goddamn dragons, bitch. I don't care who she burned. You know what I mean? She woke dragons from stone, and you bitches will bend the knee. Period. It's just that. Period. So I don't know if they don't know that how like all this fandom and internet stuff works, especially when you talk about these fan fictions. I can only imagine what's going on in the fanfic world when it comes to Damon. Like, I haven't seen none of that shit, but I can only imagine what's going on right now. So I don't know if it's that they just don't know how this internet stuff works or whatever, but it's like, fans are able to differentiate. Well, some people, if you are relatively well adjusted as a person, you're able to differentiate between, the fantasy, idea of somebody with a dragon and does whatever he wants and swings his sword and doesn't care who he pisses off or runs over or burns up. You're able to differentiate a character, a make-believe character, versus, somebody like that in real life. I'm not being friends with nobody like that in real life. Like, you serious? I'm making sure I'm protected from people like that in real life. But I'm gonna get my life. Like, bitch, if I lived in King's Landing for real in real life, and Daenerys had dragons in real life, and she burned me up in real life, I'm not gonna be happy about that shit. But bitch, watching a TV show, I'm just like, yeah, y'all shouldn't have fucking cut Missandei's head off. Y'all shouldn't have cut her head off. Then we would not be in this predicament. And y'all should have never got Dan and Dave to do this shit. And then, so we would not have had this out of nowhere ass non-developed turn in Daenerys' character. Period. You see what I'm saying? So let me know what y'all think about this. I'm shocked that they're shocked that people like Damon. Like, I'm shocked about that. Let me know what y'all think about this, and I'll catch y'all later.